Okay, so Joseph, to demonstrate the random class, I decided that it would just be easier to show you rather than try to make a huge explanation of how to use it. So basically, to generate random numbers, we're going to use the random object or class. So to do this, you just want to create an object. I'm going to call it random, a random object, and call it random. And this is how you do so. You'll need to import it. Just click on the little indicator and click to add import. Alright, and what this does, having this random variable, or this random object variable called random, allows us to generate random integers. And to do this, you can just use the dot operator to view all the methods that are in that object. And since we want integers, we want to use the next int. So we're going to do that. We're going to store this integer in some temporary variable. Let's call it temp. And then I'm going to print out this integer. And I'm going to go ahead and run this. And we should get, we get some huge number, because it can be any integer between negative 2 billion or so to positive 2 billion or so. Okay, so if we should note that this is what, 1.7 billion or so. So typically, when you get a next integer, or when you get an integer, it stays constant. So like, say you declare an integer, we call it temp2 for now, and we assign that to 1. It's constant. It's not changing. It's well, not random. But if we run this program again, we'll see that it's actually a different number. And that's because it actually randomly generates those numbers based on a seed, which is based actually on the time clock of your CPU. So that's how you generate a random number. But in the context of this lab, we actually want to generate characters using random numbers. So how would we do this? Well, we want printable characters. So to do that, and those printable characters are between 32 and 126 on the ASCII table. I can't pull that up right now, but I included the ASCII chart in the PowerPoint, so you can look to see that those are actually printable characters. So one question would be, how do we actually take this random integer and convert it to a positive integer value between 126 and 32? Well, it's kind of a little tricky, but what you can do is you can use the modulus sign and 96 or 95, and where I came up, or I think it's supposed to be 95. And what I came up with that was 126 minus 32 is equal to 94, I believe. Okay, and what this means is, okay, actually. So then we go down to, we want to add 1 to it, and then we want to divide our integer, whatever integer we come up with, by 95, and take the remainder of that. So that'll give us, if you remember what the modulus does, it divides it by 95, this integer number, so say we have, I don't know, 100. We'll divide it by 95, and we'll have a remainder of 5. And this 5 is actually what's returned. So all the possible numbers that could fit in this as a remainder would be from 0 to 94, right? And that's what we want. Okay, so we got characters from 0 to 94, but that's not that's not exactly what we want. We want from 32 to 126. So what we can do is we can just add 32 to the end, and now, if I shouldn't have erased that, we have the numbers from 0 to 94, and if we just add 32 to that range, the new range becomes 32 to 126, and that's exactly what we wanted. Okay. Now we got one little kink right now, because this this method right here, this random.nextInt, actually returns positive and negative numbers. So we'll actually have to take the absolute value of that, and if you'll remember from past labs, to do that you just use the math class and the absolute function, or ABS. We'll typecast, or not typecast, we'll put the random.nextInt as the parameter. We'll divide it by 95, take the remainder, which is 0 to 94, add 32, and we'll get 32 to 126. Alright, great. So we got, in our temp value right here, we got the value, some random value between 32 and 126. Okay, well this isn't useful at all. Okay, we need to make characters. So how do we get a character? Well, you can actually typecast this integer value into a character. So by just doing that, typing the char in parentheses and then temp, and that takes that integer value between 32 and 126 and typecasts it into a char and then stores it in this variable I just happened to name C. Okay, so if we print out temp and then we print out C, or you know what, let's clean this up a bit. We'll actually make our output look a little better. So temp is and the character equivalent, I think that's how you spell that, is C. Okay, so if we run this, we get, or I think that's an O. It looks like it says 0, but it looks like it's a capital O. Alright, so let's go ahead and run it again, that way I know. Okay, so we get the value 119, and I guess the character equivalent on the ASCII table of 119 is W. Okay, so yeah, that's basically that. I'm just gonna do one more thing. I'm going to show you can do this for multiple characters, and you'll actually get a different number if you do it again. That's the point of this random class. So if we do this, we see we got 47, the character equivalent is a / I believe, and then we got 45, and the character equivalent of that is a hyphen. So hopefully that kind of clears up some of the troubles you might be having. If you have any more questions, just feel free to ask me or email me again. Alright, have a good day.